Join me in welcoming Ambassador Potzel.
So I would like to speak, first of all, a little bit about Europe, and then later on about German-Irish relations. And let me start by saying that last weekend I had, or the weekend before last actually, I had the honor to speak at a National War Remembrance event in Woodbridge in the Wicklow Mountains. And we were commemorating the victims of the First World War. And this Sunday we will celebrate German Remembrance Day in Glen Creek, where there is also a German war cemetery. Now the event in Woodbridge was extremely moving, and I said there that this Europe that is now governed by the strength of the law rather than by the law of the strong was the answer to the devastation and the horrors of the two world wars. And this Europe roots, which lie, as the preamble of the Lisbon Treaty says, in our shared cultural, religious and humanist inheritance, really came a long way after those two devastating wars. The fact that the member states of the European Union, no matter what size, now strive to find joint solutions and agree on joint policies in a peaceful manner in Brussels is an achievement of civilization, really, that cannot be overstated. And for Germany, the fact that the European family has allowed us to come back into their midst after the Second World War, the fact that they reached out hands in friendship is, not only in my view, but in the view of many people, a miracle in a way, and a truly wonderful gift by our European friends, and we will always be grateful for that. As we are grateful for German reunification, because that as well was a gift by our European, by our American and friends, and also, one has to say, by Gorbachev, Soviet Union, with Perestroika and Glasnost that he was introduced. Let me now say a few words on, well, not a few more words on German-Irish bilateral relations. So, depending on where exactly you start counting on, our relations go back to the 7th century. And when St. Kilian went to Würzburg in 600 something, but I'm not going back all those years, so don't worry. I'm not going to go through all those centuries now. No, but honestly speaking, I mean, we go back a long time. But just let me mention a few, I think, very important points there. I don't know whether you know that in 1776, the first German department in Ireland was founded, actually here at Trinity College in Dublin. And it's thus actually the oldest German Lehrstuhl, as we call it, the oldest German faculty in the world, even older than the ones in Germany itself. In the 18th century, 4,000 Lutheran refugees came to Ireland from Germany, and I find that a very intriguing story. They have a little museum in Roskilde, close to Limerick, if ever you have the chance to go there. It's very impressive. At the time, these people from Rhineland-Palatine area in Germany, they fled war, they fled hunger, they fled misery, and they wanted a better future for their families and for their children. So they set out first to Britain, some came to Ireland, others later left Ireland again and went to the States, some returned to Britain, some went back to Germany, but a few of them settled here. And if you follow the stories in the museum of those families, it sounds extremely familiar to what we discussed today, because these people were looked at from the outside as being very strange. They looked strange, they wore strange clothes, they ate really strange stuff. They spoke a different language, they had a different religion, so people didn't know what to think of these people. So they didn't find it particularly easy, but they were very highly qualified in agriculture. So that's how somehow they settled down and they were given places to live and work as well. So then at least 400 families or something stayed here in Ireland. But I think it's really amazing, like how these things come up and up again, and as I say, the similarities to the stories we hear today, discussed today, are really striking. We also had very strong economic and trade ties throughout the 19th and 20th century. A lot of brand names were here, Siemens and Faber-Castell and so on. And by 1938, Germany was Ireland's fourth largest source of imports. And Germany was the second largest export market for Irish products. And then, obviously, World War II changed the game. Ireland was neutral, but I'm sure you heard the story about Eamon de Valera signing the condolence book for Hitler. He was actually the only head of state who actually did that at the time. During World War II, there were a couple of German prisoners of war interned here in Ireland, but I hear, and I was just there in the Cura to see one of the museums, that they actually really had a good time in Ireland, so they were allowed to work, and they went to the local pub at night, and I also visited that pub just last week to look at some memorabilia they had there of that time. After World War II, Ireland was very helpful towards Germany, so they sent food supply, anything really from flour to cocoa to butter to milk, what have you, and people were very grateful for that. And they also did something which we still remember. They allowed 450 German children to come here to Ireland, and they put them in foster families for up to 3 years. Some of them stayed. They were actually not meant to stay here, but some of them stayed. Most of them went back, but some of them came back later in their life, married Irish people, and then stayed on as well. So that was a very very important moment in our relations. And when you go to Stephen's Green, just around the corner, there's like, at the corner of Earlsford Terrace, there's a fountain there called the Three Fates. And that fountain was actually donated by the German government to the Irish government in the 1950s as a sign of gratitude for that support for those children there. And actually, when you look at it, and you can find some of the some documentaries on YouTube as well about that Operation Shamrock. There are really beautiful stories of young kids having their first orange, not knowing what that was, but also about people, the parents here, the Irish parents, even many years later, still being saddened by the fact that they had to let go of the little child that they fostered. So really wonderfully moving human stories there, I have to say. But I think one can fairly say that our relations do have much more potential also in the business sphere, because just recently Professor Morgan Root from DCU published a study describing the effects of Brexit and how much potential there would be for trade relations with Germany post-Brexit. Because obviously with Brexit, UK products will probably become more expensive due to tax, for instance, and market access might become more difficult. So looking to the German market of 80 million people and looking at German products, which could substitute more expensive UK products, taking also the sea way rather than the land bridge via the UK, all that is, according to the study, economically extremely viable, and so we hope that we can profit from that as well. And I'm happy to see indeed a growing interest also by Irish companies. Enterprise Ireland is very supportive of that as well. I've been to a number of events here talking to Irish companies about the possibilities of doing either business in Germany or with German companies.